the words of my mouth and the meditation of our hearts be pleasing unto you, O Lord our God. Please be seated. I told you earlier that I hope you brought your sense of humor to church this morning. Some of you might remember the previous rector at St. Paul's in Salinas, Father Tom Woodward. We became good friends during the time that I was rector at St. George's in North Salinas. Tom has some unusual gifts that he uses well even as a priest. Did you know that he was an amateur magician? Did you know that about him? Richard, did you know that? While we were in Seattle in 2005 for Bishop Nettie Rivera's consecration, she was a former rector at St. George's actually, he showed off his magical skills, including breathing fire. But Tom also had a great sense of humor, which he also used very well. During his tenure at St. Paul's, Tom introduced his congregation to what he dubbed Humor Sunday. Once a year, usually during summer, his weekly sermon would consist of jokes. We all need humor in our lives. Life can be stressful, and it often is. And so once a year, Tom would celebrate Humor Sunday at his parish. Apparently, Richard, he did it when you were not there. Because it became a tradition at St. Paul's during his time. But let me warn you, I'm not a Tom Woodward. I have been known to tell jokes that fell flat on their face just because I couldn't get the punchline correct. And so, those of you who are joke tellers, I'm sure there are some in this congregation this morning. Those of you who are joke tellers in your own right, do bear with me as I attempt to tell you a few jokes to lighten up your stressful Sunday. My first is about God's creation. Very appropriate for a Sunday, especially to us believers. It isn't a joke, but it should bring a smile to your face because it is a creation story with a twist. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth and populated earth with broccoli, cauliflower, and spinach, green and yellow and red vegetables of all kinds, so that humans could live long and healthy lives. Then, using God's great gift, Satan created Ben & Jerry's ice cream and Krispy Kreme donuts. And Satan said, "You want chocolate with that?" And man said, "Yes." And woman said, "As long as you're at it, add some sprinkles." And they gained 10 pounds. Satan smiled. And God created the healthful yogurt that woman might keep the figure that man found so fair. Then Satan brought forth white flour from the wheat and sugar from the cane and combined them. And woman went from a size 6 to a size 14. So God said, "Try my fresh green salad." And Satan presented Thousand Island dressing, buttery croutons, and garlic bread on the side. And man and woman unfastened their belts following their meal. God then said, "I have sent you hot, healthy vegetables and olive oil in which to cook them with." Satan then brought forth fish and chips, and chicken fried steak so big it needed its own platter. A man gained more weight and his cholesterol went through the roof. God then created a light, fluffy white cake, named it angel food cake, and said, "It is good." Satan then created a chocolate cake and named it devil's food. God then brought forth running shoes so that his children might lose those extra pounds. And Satan provided cable TV with remote control, so man would not have to toil changing the channels. And man and woman laughed and cried before that flickering blue light and gained pounds again. Then God brought forth the potato, naturally low in fat and brimming with nutrition. And Satan peeled off the healthful skin off the potato and sliced the starchy center into chips and deep fried them. And man gained pounds. God then gave lean beef so that man might consume fewer calories and still satisfy his appetite. And Satan created McDonald's and its 99-cent double cheeseburgers. Then said, "You want fries with that?" And man replied, "Yes," and supersized them. And Satan said, "It is good." And man went into cardiac arrest. The story of creation goes on, but let me move on to this joke about the Baptist dog. A Baptist preacher and his wife decided to get a new dog. Ever mindful of their congregation, they knew the dog just had to be a Baptist. They visited kennel after kennel and explained their need. Finally, they found a kennel whose owner assured them that he had just the right dog for them. He brought the dog to meet the pastor and his wife. "Fetch the Bible," he commanded. The dog bounded to the bookshelf, scrutinized the books, located the Bible, and brought it over to its owner. "Now find Psalm 23, he commanded. The dog dropped the Bible to the floor and, showing marvelous dexterity with its paws, leafed through and, finding the correct page, pointed to it with its paw. The pastor and his wife were very impressed and went home with the dog. That evening, a group of church members came to visit. The pastor and his wife began to show off their new dog and had him locate several Bible verses. The visitors were very impressed. One man asked, "Can he do regular dog tricks as well?" "I haven't tried yet," the pastor replied. He pointed his finger at the dog. "Heel," the pastor commanded. The dog immediately jumped on a chair, placed a paw on the pastor's forehead, and began to howl. "Good Lord," said the pastor to his wife in shock. "He's Pentecostal." I'm glad I got a few laughs. And this last one about baptizing a bear. A priest, a Pentecostal preacher, and a rabbi served as chaplains at a Midwestern university. They would get together a couple of times a week to have coffee together and for small talk. And one day someone made the comment that preaching to people isn't really all that hard. The real challenge would be to preach to a bear. So one thing led to another. They decided to do an experiment. They would all go out into the woods, find a bear, preach to it, and attempt to convert it. A week later, they all got back together to discuss their experience. Father Flannery, who has his arm in a sling, is on crutches and has various bandages, went first. "Well," he says, "I went into the woods to find me a bear. And when I found him, I began to read to him from the catechism. Well, that bear wanted nothing to do with me, and and began to slap me around. So I quickly grabbed my holy water, sprinkled him, and Holy Mary, Mother of God, he became as gentle as a lamb. The bishop is coming next week to give him First Communion and confirmation. The Reverend Billy Bob spoke next. He was in a wheelchair with an arm and both legs in casts and an IV drip. In his best fire and brimstone oratory, he claimed, "Well, brothers, you know that we don't sprinkle. I went out and I found me a bear. And then I began to read to my bear from God's holy word. But that bear wanted nothing to do with me. So I took hold of him and we began to wrestle. We wrestled down one hill and up and down another until we came to a creek. And so I quick dunked him and baptized his hairy soul. And just like that, he became as gentle as a lamb. We spent the rest of the time praising Jesus. Both of them then looked down at the rabbi, who was lying in a hospital bed. He was in a body cast and traction with IVs and monitors running in and out of him. He was in bad shape. The rabbi looked up and says, "Looking back on it, circumcision may not have been the best way to start things out." And if people, humor, it has been said, can be the best medicine sometimes. I hope you took mine as a dose for you today. Our God must surely have a sense of humor. How else could he put up with humankind and our foolish and sad ways? In the journey of our lives with the prophet Micah, let us set our minds and hearts to seeking justice, loving kindness, and walking humbly with our God, accepting all of life, every day of it, every struggle, every hill, every valley, with a healthy dosage of humor. In the name of God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, infinitely loving, infinitely patient, infinitely merciful. Amen. Amen. Amen.